many years, black bears have been seen as symbols of the wild mountain forests, powerful, cautious, and leaving almost no trace behind. But as the boundary between nature and human settlements continues to shrink, everything begins to change. Encounters no longer happen deep in the forest. Instead, they occur right behind homes, near livestock enclosures, and even beside household garbage bins. And once a bear discovers an easy food source, it will return, not randomly, but following a route that is astonishingly precise. It always begins with very small signs. An overturned trash can, a few claw marks on a tree trunk, or large footprints pressed deep into damp soil. To the untrained eye, these are just scattered details. But to wildlife control specialists, they form a complete map. Every trace reveals how the bear moves when it appears, and most importantly, that it has begun to see this area as safe enough to return repeatedly. Unlike many other animals, bears do not act hastily. They may return to the same location over several consecutive nights, simply to observe. If no danger is detected, they move closer. If food remains available, they remember. And once a habit is formed, driving them away becomes almost ineffective. This is exactly when control measures must be implemented, not as a reaction, but as a step ahead. The strategy does not begin with immediately setting traps. Instead, the entire area is carefully surveyed. Main movement routes are identified based on tracks, claw marks, and approach directions. Infrared cameras are installed at multiple points to accurately record the bear's timing and behavior. Some bears appear so consistently that their movements can almost be predicted step by step. And it is this data that determines where traps are placed. Not where it is convenient, but where the bear is certain to pass. Once the location is determined, the conditioning phase begins. A portion of food is placed at the trap site, but the mechanism is not yet activated. The goal is not to capture immediately, but to make the bear feel completely safe. Over several consecutive days, it returns, feeds, and leaves without encountering any danger. This repetition creates a habit, an almost automatic response. And only then does the trap truly become effective. Contrary to common assumptions, bear trap systems are designed for control, not harm. Sturdy metal structures are firmly anchored to the ground, strong enough to contain an adult bear while still minimizing excessive panic. A one-way mechanism allows the bear to enter easily, but prevents it from exiting. And when the door closes, everything happens quickly and efficiently, reducing the risk of the animal injuring itself. After the trap is triggered, the next steps are carried out by specialists. The bear is sedated under strictly controlled conditions, then examined for health and transported to a suitable location, typically deep forest areas far from human settlements. The goal is not removal, but restoration of balance, returning the animal to where it belongs while minimizing the risk of future conflict. In many cases, it is human behavior, often unintentional, that lies at the root of the problem. Leftover food, unsecured trash, or feeding wildlife all contribute to altering the bear's habits. When natural food sources are replaced by easier alternatives, their behavior changes accordingly. And when that happens, control is no longer optional, it becomes necessary. Managing bears is not a single action, but an entire system. And when done correctly, the result is not just the prevention of damage. It is the preservation of a natural balance, where nature continues to operate by its own rules, and humans learn to adapt rather than disrupt it.
For many years, bears were seen as animals that lived separately and avoided humans.
Yeah, get up there! Get up!
But as the boundary between forests and residential areas gradually blurred, encounters began to occur more frequently. These were no longer brief sightings, but direct approaches along trails, forest edges, and even near homes. The issue is not only the presence of bears, but how each encounter is handled by people. Bears do not move randomly, but respond to familiar signals such as scent, sound, and spatial memory. An area handled without control can become a reference point in their behavior. When an individual approaches humans without resistance, the likelihood of returning becomes almost certain. If this pattern is not stopped early, the level of risk increases with each repetition. After confirming the area, control teams deploy traps that match the level of risk. Among them, foothold traps are designed to secure the front limb without causing serious injury. Their curved structure and pressure limiting mechanism help ensure safety during restraint. These devices are only placed at verified locations and are always paired with remote monitoring to prevent errors. When the target steps into position, the mechanism activates immediately, forcing it to stop moving. A signal is sent to the control center, and the rapid response team arrives on site without delay. The captured individual is sedated under controlled procedures and quickly removed from the area. The entire process is kept short, minimizing noise and leaving no traces that disturb the environment. If handled carelessly, a trap site can become a memory point in a bear's perception. But when done correctly, it leaves no noticeable signal behind. No reward, no clear danger, just a gap that prevents the behavior from being reinforced. This is the key factor in stopping future returns. In areas near residential zones, control protocols are even stricter. There are no gatherings, no spread of alarming images, and no individual left restrained on site for long periods. The goal is not only to resolve the current situation, but to ensure the location does not become a point of confrontation between humans and wildlife. Captured individuals are transferred to specialized facilities for behavioral and risk assessment. Depending on the results, they may be relocated to suitable habitats or managed under specific plans. Most importantly, they are not returned to the original location, where habits of approaching humans could form again. In reality, bear intrusions into residential areas are increasing. They do not just search for food in trash bins, but also break doors, enter homes, and cause property damage. Many areas have recorded hundreds of incidents within a short time, forcing some businesses to temporarily close due to repeated losses. Although preventive measures such as bear-resistant bins and limiting outdoor food sources have been applied, the situation is still not fully controlled. Some regions allow licensed hunters to participate in population control, but this approach carries risks and is strictly regulated. In the end, success is not measured by how many traps are set or how many individuals are captured, but by whether dangerous behavior stops. When the chain of approach is broken, the environment gradually returns to stability, and people no longer live in constant alert. If you find this useful, leave a comment and follow for more effective control strategies ahead. No one ever sees it arrive. But every morning, the damage is worse. In just a few nights, more than $20,000 has disappeared. Trash bins are overturned, belongings are shattered, and food storage areas are torn apart as if they never existed. Massive footprints press deep into the damp soil. No cameras are needed. It's already clear that something is returning to this place, night after night. A large black bear. And this time, it is no longer afraid. When every attempt to drive it away fails, there is no other choice but to deploy a large-scale trapping system. But the problem is, they only have one chance. In many states across the U.S., the presence of bears near residential areas is no longer rare. As natural food sources decline or as bears become accustomed to human food and waste, their behavior begins to change. They no longer avoid people, but move directly into human living spaces. What was once a clear boundary between forest and human territory has now almost disappeared. Beyond property damage, bears can also carry dangerous pathogens. Most notably, parasitic worms such as Trichinella can survive in muscle tissue and potentially spread to humans or livestock through indirect exposure. In addition, intestinal parasites and ticks carried by bears can be released into the surrounding environment. As bears forage through food sources, they unintentionally contaminate soil, water, and livestock areas. In addition, traffic accidents involving bears are becoming increasingly common. At night, when visibility is limited, a full-grown bear crossing the road unexpectedly can cause serious consequences within seconds. Their large size and slower reaction time make these collisions far more dangerous than those involving smaller animals. Unlike wild boars that move in groups, bears operate alone. This means there is only one opportunity. If it fails, the bear becomes far more cautious and nearly impossible to approach again. For this reason, every step must be executed with near-perfect precision. A large steel cage trap is set up as the primary control structure. Measuring over 3 meters in length, with thick reinforced steel bars, it is strong enough to withstand the force of a fully grown bear. The enclosed design limits the animal's ability to break out from inside. The door uses a gravity drop mechanism, slamming shut instantly upon activation with no gaps left behind. The trap is placed directly along a known travel route, where cameras have recorded the bear appearing repeatedly over several nights. Bait is positioned deep inside, forcing the bear to fully enter the trap. During the first few nights, the door is left open to build familiarity. Once the bear begins entering deeper and staying longer, the system is then activated. However, cage traps do not always work. For individuals that have previously encountered humans or escaped traps, their level of caution increases significantly. In such cases, another method is deployed: foothold traps. These traps are placed directly along travel routes, in areas where clear footprints or repeated activity have been observed. Each trap is carefully concealed with soil and dry leaves to blend into the natural surroundings. When the bear steps into position, the mechanism locks instantly. A strong cable system is anchored to a tree or steel stake, holding the animal in place. Unlike cage traps that rely on bait, foothold traps rely entirely on movement patterns. This makes them highly effective for dealing with difficult individuals, those that have learned to avoid larger traps. However, this method requires constant monitoring and rapid response to ensure safety. And eventually, everything reaches its conclusion. When behavior is correctly understood, locations are precisely chosen, and timing is tightly controlled, management shifts from reacting to damage to taking control. No more nightly returns. No more silent losses building over time. If you found this useful, leave a comment and don't forget to follow for more effective wildlife control strategies in the next videos.
In recent years, the appearance of black bears around residential areas is no longer a rare occurrence. Security cameras not only capture fleeting silhouettes in the night, but also reveal purposeful movement. Heading straight toward trash bins, food storage areas, or livestock enclosures. This is not a moment of curiosity. It is a sign of behavioral change, as bears begin to treat human areas as an extension of their foraging territory. And once this habit forms, controlling it becomes significantly more difficult. Unlike many other species, bears do not move randomly. They have excellent memory. A readily accessible food source can cause them to return to the exact same location repeatedly for weeks, even months. Large footprints pressed into damp soil, scratched tree trunks, or overturned trash bins are not just traces, they are a behavioral map. And to control effectively, the first step is not setting traps, but accurately reading that map. At a forest edge location, after weeks of monitoring with infrared cameras, a movement pattern began to emerge clearly. A large bear consistently appeared around 1 a.m., moving along the fence behind the farm and stopping at a fixed point where leftover food had once been found. There was no rush, no panic. Every movement was slow but precise, as if it had memorized the route. Instead of reacting immediately, the control team chose to extend the observation phase. They did not set traps right away. Instead, they established a stable bait station. Using strong-smelling attractants such as mixed grains, pastries, and sugar-based products. The scent spread through the air, but not abruptly enough to trigger suspicion. Over the course of 2 weeks, this location remained unchanged. The goal was not rapid attraction, but familiarity. Once the appearance frequency became consistent, the next step began. A steel tube trap system was installed flush with the ground, covered with soil and dry leaves to blend into the surrounding environment. The trap opening was designed just large enough for the bear to insert its paw, with bait placed deep inside to force further interaction. No element in the structure was allowed to create a sense of abnormality. When the bear approached and inserted its paw deeper to reach the bait, the internal mechanism was triggered. There was no loud noise, no chaos, just a controlled movement sufficient to hold the front paw in place, preventing immediate withdrawal. The system was designed to remain stable, causing no serious harm, but sufficient to control the situation. Immediately afterward, the response team arrived. The entire subsequent process was carried out according to standard procedures. Sedation under expert supervision, health assessment, and transport to an appropriate location for further handling in compliance with regulations. There was no haste, no confrontation. Everything unfolded as part of a pre-planned process. What is noteworthy is not the trap itself, but how it is used. If placed in the wrong location at the wrong time or without proper observation, the entire system becomes meaningless. Bears are not easily deceived. A single sign of abnormality can cause them to change routes and disappear for weeks. In the context of increasing human-wildlife conflict, control methods based on behavioral understanding are becoming a more sustainable approach. It is not about elimination, but management. Not reaction, but proactivity. And sometimes success does not come from acting the fastest, but from acting at the right moment. If you find this content useful, leave a comment and don't forget to follow for more scientifically grounded and effective wildlife control strategies.
Along the edges of forests where they meet residential areas, the presence of bears is no longer occasional. They return, observe, remember, and once they discover an easy food source, trash, livestock, storage areas, they begin forming a dangerous habit. Once that habit repeats, simple deterrence methods are no longer effective. At a forest edge area in Northern America, the signs have become increasingly clear. Trash is scattered as if a small storm passed through. Tree trunks carry deep claw marks far above human reach. And on damp ground, large footprints form a fixed trail. This is no longer a wandering individual. This is a bear that knows the route. The control team does not begin with traps. They begin with observation. Infrared cameras are placed along movement corridors, not to capture every moment, but to identify patterns. After several nights, a clear pattern emerges. The bear appears at the same time, follows the same path, and pauses at a specific point before moving deeper into residential areas. Once the behavior is identified, the trap is set. Unlike smaller traps, this system is designed as a complete control structure. A cylindrical steel tube trap, over 2 meters long, with a diameter wide enough for a full-grown bear to enter without feeling confined. Inside, there are no sharp edges. Everything is rounded to minimize injury risk. But the decisive point lies in the trigger mechanism. Instead of using injuring clamp traps, this system uses a one-way drop door. Once the bear moves deep enough inside, its body weight activates the closing mechanism behind it. The steel door slides down quickly but without a harsh impact, just enough to block escape. Once inside, the bear has no way out. However, capturing the bear is only half the story. After the trap is triggered, The control team does not approach immediately.
馬が箱罠で捕獲されました。
They monitor remotely through cameras to ensure the animal remains stable and not overly stressed. The timing of approach is carefully calculated, usually when the bear has calmed down. But not everything is always controlled in time. In some forest edge areas, there have been cases where bears move deep into residential zones without early detection, entering yards, livestock areas, or familiar human pathways. In close encounters, tension rises rapidly and people often have little time to react, especially when the bear has grown used to searching for food near human activity, making it more bold and likely to return repeatedly, gradually erasing the boundary between wild and residential space. The next stage requires precision. The bear may be sedated using specialized equipment, then health checked, tagged, and relocated to a suitable area, usually deeper into the forest, far from residential zones. The goal is not removal, but balance. But things do not always go as planned. If the trap closes too early and only part of the bear enters, it will learn and never return. If the scent is not natural enough, it will stop at the edge and disappear. And if the timing is missed when the bear is fully inside, the opportunity may be lost forever. That is why bear control is not a single action, but a tightly connected strategy, from observation, trap setup, scent guidance, to the exact moment of activation. As the boundary between forest and residential areas continues to shrink, systems like this are becoming the last line of defense. No noise, no chaos, just precise calculation, step by step. Because once a bear learns to return, the question is no longer whether it will appear again. The question is, next time, are you ready?
十分あるんじゃないですか。
Bears rarely appear with loud noises in the middle of the night. They usually arrive silently and are difficult to detect at first. Large footprints imprinted in the moist ground behind the house shifted trash lids, or long claw marks on storage doors are the first signs, noticeable if observed carefully. Farm owners often see them but choose to ignore, reassuring themselves that the bear may just be passing through. It is possible the bear will not return. Everyone wants to believe it is a one-time, incidental appearance that is not worrisome and does not require immediate reaction, even though the risk remains present. However, bears do not move randomly as many people assume. Once they find an easily accessible food source, they can remember the location with high accuracy. Their keen sense of smell allows them to detect grains, honey, or livestock feed from far distances in the wild. If the initial approach is successful, a return visit is almost certain. At first, it may be a single individual, but over time the frequency of appearances increases. These visits gradually form a repeating, predictable pattern. A notable characteristic of bears is their persistence and quiet strength. They do not need to cause significant damage initially to achieve their goal. A single displaced trash can or a slightly warped wooden door is enough to create a familiar initial access point. When the environment does not provide clear obstacles, this behavior repeats as a habit. Over time, their confidence grows. A previously quiet area gradually becomes a familiar stop in their food-searching route without much interference. Many people underestimate the early stage because the damage seems minor. However, night by night, the area affected gradually expands more noticeably. Bears come closer to human living areas, searching for food near residences. Under motion sensor lights, they move cautiously but without hesitation. As wildlife becomes accustomed to human presence, the risk of direct encounters rises. This makes every situation more unpredictable and poses higher potential risks for both parties. At this point, using traps is no longer considered an extreme measure. It becomes part of a carefully planned and calculated control strategy. The goal is not confrontation, but to break the established pattern of repeated visits. When food is no longer easily accessible, entry becomes more difficult. This forces bears to change their movement routes, reduce visit frequency, and seek other areas more suitable for their survival needs. Setting traps is not done hastily or arbitrarily. Farm operators need to observe the timing of bear appearances, familiar routes, and spots where they linger the longest. Footprints on the ground, claw marks on trees, and images from night surveillance cameras provide important data. Once behaviors are analyzed clearly, trap locations are precisely determined. Metal cages are firmly secured to the ground, with enough space for bears to enter naturally, and bait is placed deep inside for effective attraction. In some cases, specialized traps are also used under strict regulations. The restraint mechanisms are adjusted to ensure effective control while minimizing harm. Devices are regularly checked to ensure safety and allow prompt processing. Safety for humans and animals is always prioritized throughout the entire control process. In many areas along the boundary between forests and residential zones, the presence of bears is no longer a fleeting occurrence. They do not simply pass through, they stop, observe, and return. Trash bins torn open, food storage areas disturbed, or deep claw marks etched into tree trunks are not random signs. They reflect a pattern in the making. Once bears become accustomed to an easy food source, they will return, repeating exactly what has worked for them before. At a forest edge location where these signs became increasingly evident, the control team began with a simple yet critical step: observation. Infrared cameras were set up along movement routes, not to capture every moment, but to identify patterns. After several nights, a model began to emerge. A large individual bear appeared consistently at the same time frame, moving along a familiar corridor and stopping at points where food scents had previously lingered. There was no rush at this stage. Any premature intervention could alter the bear's behavior. Instead, the team established a stable baiting site. The bait was carefully selected, components with a sweet scent, capable of dispersing well, but not too foreign to the surrounding environment. More importantly, the bait location was kept fixed over multiple consecutive days. No changes, no disturbances. The goal was not immediate attraction, but to create a sense of familiarity, as if this food source had always existed there. Once the frequency of visits became consistent, the next step was implemented. A culvert-style trap system was installed at the exact baiting point. The entire structure was embedded into the ground and covered with soil and dry leaves to blend into the surrounding landscape. No detail was allowed to feel out of place. Even the metallic scent was minimized through pre-treatment before installation. The trap's entrance was designed just wide enough for the bear to insert its paw, but not enough to allow a full view of the internal structure. The bait was placed deep inside, forcing the animal to reach further and prolong the interaction. This was not a random act. It was a calculated sequence based on the natural behavior of bears. The moment of activation occurred with almost no warning signs. When the bear extended its paw deep enough, the internal mechanism operated smoothly. There was no loud noise, no sudden jolt. Just enough holding force to secure the limb and prevent immediate withdrawal. The entire design was aimed at controlling the situation without triggering panic. Immediately afterward, the response team arrived on site. Every subsequent step was carried out according to a pre-established protocol. From safe approach and distance control to sedation under professional supervision, everything proceeded in a controlled manner. The bear was then examined and handled appropriately, depending on the specific circumstances. The key did not lie in the trap itself, but in how it was placed within the right context. If the observation phase were skipped, if the location were incorrect, or if the environment were altered too early, the entire system would lose its effectiveness. Bears can detect abnormalities through the smallest changes: a strange scent, a layer of freshly turned soil, or an unfamiliar object. Therefore, bear control is not a single action. It is a process. It begins with reading signs, understanding habits, building familiarity, and only intervening when all elements have aligned. No step can be omitted. As the boundary between humans and wildlife continues to shrink, methods grounded in behavioral understanding are becoming more effective. Not to confront, but to manage. Not to react, but to take control before situations escalate beyond reach. And sometimes what makes the difference is not the fastest action, but the ability to wait long enough to fully understand every movement unfolding in silence.
Over the past few years, black bears have been appearing near farms and residential areas more often than before. Many security cameras capture them slipping into feed storage, overturning trash bins, and even breaking into livestock sheds in search of easy food. For many farmers, each visit from a bear means new repair and cleanup costs. Over time, these repeated incidents have turned the conflict between people and bears into a long-term management challenge. Bear keeps returning to the same place. Concern within the community rises quickly. Residents start reinforcing storage buildings, putting up stronger fences, and changing the way they store food to reduce attraction. Even so, these solutions usually work only for a short time. Expenses remain high, and the feeling of uncertainty continues. Children, farmers, and people walking along rural paths all need to stay more alert. Because of this, wildlife authorities aim not only to reduce damage, but also to restore a sense of safety for the community. Instead of reacting immediately after every incident, management teams usually begin by collecting information. Infrared cameras and motion sensors are placed along the trails that bears often travel. These devices record the time of appearance, movement direction, and activity frequency. With this data, specialists can assess risk more accurately before taking action and prepare carefully for locations considered high-risk areas. Once the individual responsible for repeated intrusions is identified, control measures are introduced. Specialized traps are selected according to the terrain and the bear's behavior. Their purpose is to minimize injury and keep the animal in place until the rapid response team arrives. A remote monitoring system sends a signal as soon as the trap is triggered. This approach focuses on the specific bear causing the problem without affecting the wider population. In some high-risk locations, management teams use not only cage traps, but also foothold traps. These devices are designed to hold the bear's front paw with carefully controlled pressure to prevent serious injury. They are often placed along familiar routes between forests and farms. When the animal steps on the center plate, the mechanism closes and keeps it from moving farther until the control team arrives. That I end certain operations. Trained tracking dogs also assist the process. These dogs undergo months of training to recognize scent and follow the traces of large wildlife. Their role is not to chase animals, but to help teams locate the suspected individual more precisely. When combined with camera data and field signs, tracking dogs greatly reduce the chance of unexpected encounters between people and bears. Once a trap is activated, the rapid response team quickly arrives at the site. The captured bear is sedated following veterinary procedures to ensure safety for both the animal and the people involved. Afterward, it is transported to a management facility where its behavior and level of risk are evaluated. The trapping site is also carefully cleaned, removing food odors and traces that might attract other bears. That I end wildlife management. Success is not measured by how many traps are set, but by whether intrusions decrease. When farms can operate normally again and bears stop searching for food near homes, the control strategy is considered effective. This shows that traps are only one part of a larger system that also includes monitoring, environmental management, and rapid response point. One detail often overlooked in bear management is what happens after the intervention. If food smells or traces remain, the place can continue attracting bears. On the other hand, when the site is cleaned and restored to natural conditions, the location almost disappears from the animal's memory. Careful work from monitoring and trapping to site cleanup helps prevent dangerous behavior. From repeating .I in the long run. The goal of management programs is not to capture more bears, but to reduce conflict between people and wildlife. When residents can work outdoors with greater safety and bears return to the forest instead of visiting farms, the system is considered successful. If you find these methods interesting, leave a comment to share your thoughts and follow the channel to discover more fascinating stories from the wild.
Just how amazing nature can be. Thanks for joining us on this